We are back with the SPP, and I've got Sara B.
Hello.
And Nico to VET, and we're at the UFB.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're back, and we have more properly Sara B Sirius and Nico DeVette is back to co-host.
Yeah.
So
you guys are amazing.
Yeah. But I guess we should start talking about Sara B Sirius since you're the guest of the day. What's going on?
Oh, just living and doing my thing. I don't know what's going on in the world. I'm very slow. I'm behind on like the current events and stuff. Come up for jokes for things that were 3 months ago. Yeah, like my button.
What's the button?
The button says, "Too many yachts, not enough submarines."
Okay.
Would have been genius a couple months ago, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. So what's
submarine?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm just always trying to write something. It's been and I've got some shows coming up.
Oh well. Should we talk about? Well, I want to talk about submarines. What's the deal with submarines and yachts? You got a thing?
Okay. Well, billionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a problem with billionaires, I guess. And apparently so do orcas, because they've been sinking yachts in the Mediterranean. And then we had one submarine go down, the Titan. They were trying to check out the Titanic and ended up being like the most recent victims of that whole, fiasco. Also, an act of hubris. Those people died. So, in a sense, that joke is too soon and too late.
How do you get timing right with these jokes, by the way?
I don't know, just by... Well, in my case, I just try to write a tight joke. I wish I could have written it 3 months ago, but it's still a good joke because it's very tight. I started out with like a paragraph, and I narrowed it down to 2 short lines. And I got that writing style when I started doing poetry, and I was doing poetry before comedy.
Poetry? How long did you do poetry?
Oh, well, high school. It's so probably a good 10 years, and I still write from time to time, but that was kind of my big phase was in my 20s. And I kind of wrote less and less poetry as I wrote more and more jokes.
So, what gave you the transition? Like, what made you want to do that transition?
Okay. Well, I like poetry because the style of poetry that I was doing is more a precision of language. It's like using the least amount of words to get the ideas across, and using the right words, and when you use the right word, it can have multiple meanings, and when you use it right, every meaning of that word will give you a new interpretation of the poem as a whole. And so that's how it adds depth and meaning and that's how I used to write. Then I got married, and got doing wheelie on motorcycles. 3 wheelies on motorcycles going by. That's what all that background noise was. Sorry, I'm easily distracted.
Most of us are, I think.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
I got married, and my husband tried stand-up comedy, and I supported him in that, and then he made me go to all the workshops and open mics that he was going to. I'm like, do I really have to? And he's like, yeah, I need you to support me. And I'm like, okay, So I would go and I would sit in the audience of these open mics that were at the Comedy Corner, which eventually evolved into Laughs, into Loonies. So that's kind of where I really got my start. I'd watch these people get up on stage, and they're like very confident. They've got voices that you could read a phone book and just, they could read a phone book, and I would just be melting. But I think, I can think of funnier things to say than they do. And so they'd said, if that's the way you feel, Sarah, why don't you get up on stage? And I did, and it went well, and that's too bad, because I kind of wish it had gone badly. Maybe I would have given it up and not wasted the last 35 years of my life doing this. But I don't know, it's fun.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it, because you're hysterical. And I have heard from quite a few people who look up to you in this town. And I think we'll talk about that, but it's also a perfect file slice time, and I am big on the file slice time.
File slice.
We're back from file slice time, and I was just being a hypocrite talking about how we always have the best things off camera, so let's hit the roll, and I was saying great stuff, so we hit the roll, and now I forgot my great stuff, but you had a great question, audience for anticipation. Are we allowed to say your name, or is it like secret? I don't know what the deal is. Well, I don't know if we want to say who's asking the question or if that's secret, but ask the question. What was a great question you had?
My assistant was asking a question.
I was just asking, you do haikus?
I do haikus, and interestingly enough, at the time when I was kind of transitioning from poetry into comedy, there was some overlap, and I was doing a little bit of competition poetry, and I went to an Albuquerque poetry festival, and I was in a haiku contest, and I was one of the 2 finalists, and we went into what they called a haiku death match, and we had to make up a haiku on the spot. So the one that I came up with, I still use to this day, and it goes like this. Okay, it's 5 syllables, then 17, and then 5. On one hand, I'm like ambidextrous, but on the other hand, I'm not. And that became, it started out as a haiku deathmatch poet, a haiku, and it turned into my opening joke that I use quite a bit. I love that joke.
That's a good joke. I'm not from
And I've noticed the play on words is like both, that's your poetry and comedy is kind of like your staple. Is that, how did you kind of, why, I guess I would say.
Well, this is something that I haven't told too many people, but when I was growing up, my mother was a talker. We'd go to barbecues, or we'd hang out at the neighbors, or we'd be at a family reunion or something, and my mother was always the last one talking. And I noticed that one thing she tried to do is to always save the most exciting part for the last. She would try and tell her stories to where they would build up to the big, well, it turns out punchline is a good word for it. And so I started doing that with my poetry, and here's another haiku for you. And people in the poetry world will get this, but I'd like to write like Bukowski, but my liver screams, no freaking way. And for those who don't know, Charles Bukowski is a wonderful poet, a very earthy, down-to-earth, an alcoholic who hung out with prostitutes and hung out at the racetrack. But boy, he writes great poems. He really does, and I love it. So I wrote the haiku. My liver screams, no freaking way. So people started to tell me that my jokes were poetic and my poems had punchlines. That's what the transition phase was. And then it just got to where I mostly do the poetry. I mean the jokes. I'm sorry, comedy.
Well, and what are we, you talked about shows coming up. We got to talk about, there's 2 different names I see out there. So what are we telling people?
Well, I do have some comedy shows coming up next week. Mm-hmm. I've got one on this coming Saturday, I've got one next Thursday, and then I've got another one the following Saturday, a week from this. And,
Well, this will be out a week from today, so it's going to be in the middle of what you're talking about. But I am doing better at keeping a little bit more timely than I used to be here, but I can't get out the same day.
So the one you'll miss is going to be in Woodland Park.
So that was awesome, wasn't it?
I'm sure I killed it.
It was
I'm sure I
hysterical.
killed
You
it.
were great.
That was last Saturday. Okay, tomorrow I'm in Pueblo with Leslie,
Ooh.
and that's all I know. I haven't got the rest of the details hammered down, but I'm sure they'll be on Facebook if you were to go to look. Sara B Sirius and Leslie Fox in Pueblo. And then the Saturday after that, I'm going to be downtown at the Red Swing Brewing, and that's on Tejon, just off of Cimarron.
So what has kind of been your career, for those who don't know who you are and know that much about you, what is like kind of your thing as far as the stand-up routine you've been doing?
I have dry comedy. It's witty. It's very punny a lot of times. I've been compared to Stephen Wright. I've been compared to Mitch Hedberg. Somebody came up to me and said that I had a real Mitch Hedberg vibe about me, and I said, "That's great. That's the closest to a heroin high I'm ever gonna get." You know, I bet Mitch Hedberg's grave says, "I used to do drugs." And that's for the comedy aficionados in the audience too. I'm not even going to explain that one. Look him up.
Some people will get it and others will look it up, yes. And then everyone will get it. I only half get it, but enough to fake it.
Yeah.
Enough to fake it and chuck it.
And some of my jokes are just outrageously unbelievable. I talk about dating the Pillsbury Dope Boy.
Oh, what's this deal?
Oh.
I haven't heard this one actually.
Oh, it's pretty awful. Yeah. We broke up. You know, he told me I was too needy, and I was tired of the yeast infections. He moved to Casper and ghosted me.
I would
So
get
there you
some
go.
questions I can't.
So, question.
Yeah.
You say you was competing with poetry. You did poetry slams?
I did, but it turns out that my poetry isn't poetry slam material, which is fine. You know, I just found out that it's not my style to talk for 3 minutes at a time. It's what's made comedy hard for me too. You know, I can write, but the performance is kind of tough for me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Arcade. It was a while. It was last year, and every comic that went up was like, it was bland and like quiet through every comic. And then you went up there, you say, "I don't know if I'm good, but I'm gonna do it anyways." I was like, "What is this?" And then you just like literally were the best one of the night. I was like,
Killed it that night. I remember that.
You really went off. I usually don't even stay unless someone say, "Hey, come watch me." So I actually stopped. Like, what is this? It was.
I love hearing
worth
that.
it. Nah,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
pretty sure you should get that a lot.
Speaking of getting that a lot, we finally see the owner of UFB here. I think we got to do the promo at some point. I'm gonna get you in here. Let's get this live, organic, and unprepared, because that's the best way. But anyway, you know, I was noticing that it seems like almost every episode we talk about the Ultra Flat Black, and yet I haven't actually recorded a podcast here, which is a little. Well, it's on me, but we're fixing that tonight, and here we are. And I guess we got a lot to promote.
Yes.
Oh, we should talk about my new show a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Right? Or not our show, because I'm hosting a show. I'm so nervous I can't even get my pronouns right as far as we and I and who's involved. But I am going to host a live show here, October 7, starting 8 o'clock. I guess we're going to open at 7 probably. And Nico DeFette is going to perform, and we also got our friend Ferret and Sarah
That's
Garland.
amazing.
So, it's,
Boy, that sounds like a great show. I think I'll have to be there.
You would definitely have to be there.
I'm still pinching myself about I can't believe it's real. But we got to talk a little bit about the Ultra Flash Black, because not everyone in the world knows about it yet being the key word. So we got to fix
Next
that.
time.
So what do you guys want to talk about?
I don't know about the show.
Well, what about the place a little bit? I mean,
Well, this place is awesome. It's a tiny little place, very intimate, and makes for some great shows. They always have fabulous artwork on the walls.
Great drinks.
It's a wonderful place to socialize. Yeah, I should be here more often, but
Well, you're here quite a bit, and I mean, you can't be here every. I mean, it's hard for us who live lives. I mean, I wish you could be here every night.
yeah.
But
It's a good spot. I'm not gonna lie. My first time here, I was amazed. Like, it's not huge, but it's more comforting than most of the huge places I've been to. So I think the comfortability of being here on this stage and, you know, just being here in this venue is pretty nice to me.
and the one thing I noticed, I mean, it's not the biggest place, but if you are inside, I don't care where you are,
You gotta be
that's
inside.
like the most amazing seat, and that's gonna be like a front row seat in any bigger venue. Just being inside, and the artists here really are great. I promise you, a lot of you are going to hear a lot more about Nico, Farrah, and Sara, and many other artists who perform here on a regular basis.
Don't forget yourself.
And that's something. We're rolling. We're just rolling and swapping, and we got to talk. You know, Don's here. Hi.
I am here. Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
We're doing good.
We have the same shirt.
It's like T-game.
We got coordinated.
Oh yeah.
So what are we going to
Ultra
talk
Flat
about?
Black
What you got going on with? What is this place?
It's Ultra Flat Black Gallery and Art Lounge. This is a graffiti art lounge with a full alcohol menu for you. And we do a lot of cool stuff here. We have open mic nights. We have bring your own art nights, hip hop pop-ups, live free comedy, and live performances on Saturdays.
You know, and we're going to have to do a more in-depth interview with you and some of the other people involved with the Ultra Flat Black and talk a little more about this history here. But anything else we want to tell them a little bit now that you got coming up, or we want to promote in particular?
Particularly, we have a bunch of stuff coming up on Saturdays, a bunch of live at the Ultras this week, No Avail. This week for comedy, we got the resident comedian here, Manny Valdez, my boy.
He's great.
Yes, the Killer Comics from Outer Space, so they'll be here on Friday. Stay tuned for Kazumba as well. We have Kazumba dance on Sundays. So yeah, I mean, we got a lot of cool stuff. Some stuff I can't even think of off the top of my head. Like I said, Mike has a show coming up October. I'm trying to get Sara back. Sara helped me start this
Yeah.
thing. So you know, I'm
It was
just
one of the first
yeah,
acts that
literally. I think you and Chris
and
was like
Chris Fonseca. Chris
Yeah.
Crazy Legs Fonseca.
yeah, it was like the second show ever. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're gonna bring Sara back too. We're just trying to do it big.
And what's the deal with the art here?
Oh, my man
This is an
Cold
art
Digit.
gallery, right?
Yes,
So
this
what
is
do we
an
got?
art gallery. I got my man Cold Digit up here this month for the month of August. He is from Cleveland by way of Kansas City right now, which is cool because I'm from Akron, Ohio. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. Yeah, and he's doing this thing, man. His art is beautiful. Come down and check it out. Come check it out for yourself.
And as far as artists who may be looking to show off their stuff, anything you want to tell them?
So as far as artists, you can get in touch with me at Ultra Flat Black Gallery online on Instagram. I will help you coach you through it and get you up on the walls. Right now we're a little bit booked out because we've been doing our thing. We're trying to do our thing. So get in touch with us and let's get you on the walls.
How do people buy these paintings when they see these cool things?
If you want to buy a painting, just come and see us at the cash register. And we can get you all put together for them. Or you can get in touch with Cold Digit at Cold Digit on Instagram. So either way.
And it's Cold D Digit.
Yes.
This is a tough name here.
COLDDIGIT. Cold Digit.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, that was a pretty cool promo and a perfect file slice time, and then we'll
Yes.
swap with you and Nico and continue the interview
Yes.
of Sara.
All right, let's get it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. I mean, we just had Nico on the episode. I'm bad at time. Was it 2 weeks ago we got it out? Or recorded? Yeah, not right away. It was about 2 weeks ago. Anything new since we put that out that we want to tell people about?
I mean, of course, the October 2nd show that you just mentioned. But I say the first one that we got coming up would be this Saturday. It's actually not my performance, but I will be performing. That's called Fozzie Grass's Birthday Bash. You know, what is that, August 19th? I say
Right.
I will be putting the flyers up. I don't have much of the details. I just know I'm gonna be on stage.
Of course, by the time you see this, he's already done that
It would
show.
have been done. Now the main important one, if you do get this out in time, is
Yeah.
September 2nd. It will be at the just say the name. Say the name.
Green line.
The grill.
At the Green Line Grill.
The Green Line Grill. Okay.
Right
I'm
on.
from Florida, so you know, I'm
Yeah.
still learning these names. So it's at
That's
the Green
my-
Line Grill.
That's my day job. I work there.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
So you're gonna be there? That's what I'm
Yeah, I'll
getting
be
at.
there.
Ooh.
I'll show up.
Ooh-wee.
Definitely going now.
So the Green Line Grill show will open. Doors will open at 6 o'clock. So be there. 7 o'clock is when the artist will start performing. From there, we're gonna run it to about. We're gonna try to run it till 12 o'clock, and then after that, we're just gonna chill out and vibe. But September 7th, no, September 2nd. Sorry.
Second.
Green Lion Grill. Be there. Don't be square.
Okay.
And of course, all the time, Spotify and YouTube.
Oh,
and
man.
are those the
Yeah.
two main ones?
I'm on all platforms.
Other ones too?
Anything you can search music on, I'm on it. Nico the Vet, Niqq, that's WQO, the Vet, VET, as in veteran. Visions eventually take over. It don't mean
Okay.
veteran, so
It's
you know.
both. He's just shy.
he likes to say both, but
It means whatever you want it to mean, right? If you want to turn you into a veterinarian, it's
I say you caught on to it. The crowd's catching on to it. Nico the Vet. I'm on all platforms. Anything you can search music on, I'm on it. You know, like I said, September 2nd, that's our show coming up. I say be there. It's a casino theme, so I'm really anxious. I ain't never been to a casino. So it's gonna be pretty good.
Have you been to a casino, Sarah?
Oh, I've been to a few casinos.
So,
Spent my 21st birthday in Las Vegas.
How was that?
What
It
happened?
was miserable.
What happens in Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're not supposed to
we're
talk
not
about
gonna
it.
talk about that.
Oh, okay.
But I will tell you that on the trip down, we were driving down the freeway, my friends and I, smoking weed. And a car pulled up alongside of us, and they had a bottle of champagne and some champagne glasses. And so we're driving down the freeway swapping. But I've settled down since then. That's a long time ago.
Which brings
Not
up
that wild anymore.
brings up a good next topic.
Oh.
What is your kind of career arc? Because you didn't just come out of high school start doing stand-up comedy. You did things a little like someone else I know, myself, doing things a little different than some other people.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I started attending open mics to support my husband, and then I eventually started doing the open mics too. Then he got on the road, and that was during the heyday in the late 80s, early 90s. And he actually had a little bit of a road career. And then he quit doing comedy, and I'm still going. It's kind of like a Marvelous Mrs. Maisel thing, only I never made it big. My biggest credits are some print credits. I get some jokes and some joke books, like the Comedy Quote Dictionary and the Friars Club Encyclopedia of Comedy. But I'm mostly just, sometimes they call me Our Lady of the Perpetual Open Mic. And I don't mind. I just really enjoy small crowds and making people laugh. I like to try bigger crowds someday, but
So what is
I
your
don't know.
goal?
I have no goals, and that's why I've gotten nowhere. People, you need to really plan these things out. I'm not.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you started doing the stand-up routine?
26.
And
No, 27, I guess.
okay. And how did that, like, you're doing more than open mics, I've noticed. You are doing a lot of shows. Maybe not the big,
Yeah.
Netflix special necessarily. But what kind of, you are doing some other stuff.
I'm doing some other shows, but mostly that's, I don't really know how to book myself, and so mostly it's whenever somebody thinks to invite me onto a show, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I've never had a car that I could travel a lot. I mean, I've got all my excuses, but it doesn't matter. I just do what I do, and I enjoy doing it.
But I'm going to tell you, you do have a big credit. Or the biggest credit I think you can have is I've noticed your influence on others.
Okay.
And of course, you literally just put out the Leslie episode hours ago, so you probably haven't seen it as we're recording, as it's just streaming. But she talked a lot about you, and I've heard about you from quite a few others.
I try and support people. If you can find joy doing this, then do it. I don't see why not. Have fun. Not everybody's going to go out there and be a Jay Leno or a Mitch Hedberg or who else can you think of? I mean, but pardon?
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, yeah. I've met him. Hanging out with Chris Fonseca, I got to meet, like Chris Rock, and I've got to meet some people, but so that's fun, and it's even more fun when you can be the star. But I try and be supportive. Like if I go to an open mic, I don't just leave after I'm done on stage. I stay and listen to the other people too.
That's a
really
lovely
more what I do
point.
it.
That is a lovely
Yeah.
point. I've noticed.
Yeah, that's
I don't
more
want
what I
to
do
say
it for.
anything nasty about anyone, but I've noticed some people who have time to do their act and leave, and others who support others. Part of why I love Nico so much is he's always supporting other artists, as does Sarah.
So,
Do my best.
Yes.
So, no, that's really nice that people have nice things to say about me. I'm glad.
A lot of nice things.
And who knows, I could be a late bloomer. Anything could happen. You never know. But in the meantime, you guys might be the only ones who get to see this specialness.
Well, are you having fun?
I am.
Then it sounds like a success to me.
Yeah, nothing like when I have a new joke and it goes over well. I do it more for the laughs than the money, which is a good thing, because if I did it for the money, I'd be starving. At least right now.
What else do you guys want to talk about?
Honestly, I think you should tell the joke.
Him or me?
No,
You're the guest. I am.
Okay, well, you've been after me to do poetry, so how about I do a poem?
Mm-hmm.
This is a crowd favorite. I really like this too. And the inspiration for this came from a toy that came from a Wendy's, kids meal.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember this, but they had for a while a little rubber ball that looked like the moon with the craters, and it had a face on it, and it would glow in the dark green. All right, so I was looking at that, and I got this idea for a poem, and it's called Medusa's Mammogram. Medusa found a lump in her breast. It felt like a small pebble. Had it checked out, now she's on chemo, bald as a green cheese moon. Sure, she's got the rubber wig. She can even wear it while swimming. But where's the fun when others aren't sinking like stones all around it? She's doing her laps. How impotent the dragon that can't breathe fire. No lightning, no thunder. Still she harbors hope. Like a statue, she daydreams ahead to bright days of remission, impatiently passing from bald to butch to beware. I'm back in business, boys.
That is great. Well, we're talking about some writing stuff there.
So like I say, the idea of writing, for me, is to, use as few words as possible to get to the punchline. And the punchline, the most powerful word should be the very last word, if you can do it, so that everything builds up to that. And it should be a twist, and it should take you in another direction, but it's got to make sense on some level. And so, and I like to practice writing jokes. I write jokey jokes. One time I did a bunch of them in one of my sets, and somebody accused me of getting my jokes off of the internet. And I'm like, well, somebody's got to write those jokes. I wrote these ones. If they're ever on the internet, it's because they're quoting me, okay? But like one of my bar jokes is a chicken runs into a bar and says, "Bartender, quick, I need a punchline for this joke." And the bartender says, "Sorry, I'm all out. But you might try across the road." And then the last bar joke that I'm going to tell you, and I'm probably going to close out with this. Yeah, I wrote this in Manitou Springs. There's a lovely little bar there called the Swirl Wine Bar. And if you ever go there, look up, because you'll see the boat that inspired this joke. And there are a lot of different kinds of jokes, and sometimes a joke, in this case, the form of this joke means that you just start kind of galloping with the words until you get to the end of the joke. You'll see what I mean. So I walk into a bar and I look up and I see a boat hanging from the ceiling. So I called the bartender over. I said, "Excuse me, is that an authentic North Pacific Alaskan two-seater Aleutian kayak hanging up there?" And he said, yes it is. And I said, "I knew it." And he said, "No, it's pronounced Inuit."
Inuit.
Yeah, and it took me years to write that joke. And I used to look at the word Inuit. It's spelled I-N-U-I-T. And I used to think, that'd be funny if you mispronounced it, "I knew it." But I never figured out how to work that into a joke until the day I was sitting in the Swirl Wine Bar. I looked up and I saw that kayak that's there. And that's how I came to write that joke. So,
That's it.
what can I tell you?
Things just inspire you out of nowhere. Well, thank you so much. Oh, by the way, speaking of internet, how do we find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. My comedy page is Sara B Sirius. That's Sarah without an H, B without a period, and Sirius spelled S-I-R-I-U-S, kind of like the radio. Although I had this stage name a lot longer than that has even been in business, because that's how old I am. And you'll see a picture of me on my comedy holding a heart-shaped potato from when I work at the Green Line Grill, because we love our French fries that much.
And I know you're not big on the IG, but is that something you're just don't send any IG messages? They're not. That's not.
I have an IG account and I haven't even looked at it in over a year. I never got the hang of.
I sent you some
Instagram.
doozies. So what about the place we're here for?
All right.
Where are we again?
We are here at the Ultra Black Gallery, and tonight
And
when
Yeah,
it's theirs, we're going to be having another open mic. It's a wonderful open mic. You can sign up online.
Come on out.
it's gonna be Sarah all night. It's gonna be great. And 603. It's saying 603, right? Make sure I get my number.
Okay.
All I do is numbers all day long between the other job and this. 603 West Colorado Avenue. Come every night. But we're here on basically Tuesday nights mostly, and other nights sometimes, and especially Saturday shows, Friday shows.
Okay.
You already know.
And so next Saturday, I'm going to be at the Red Swing Brewery doing a comedy show downtown. And this guy's going to be September 2nd
September 2nd.
at the Green Line Grill.
And the Instagram handle is Ultra Flat Black Gallery. I need the prompting here. I don't have it down. I've still got to practice this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have it as good as Sarah does. So what are we? Ultra Black. Just say it for us. I can't do it.
Black Gallery.
There we go.
Flat black.
Gallery. You don't have to do the and lounge. The and lounge is not necessary. There we go.
All right. Hey, thanks.
See you next time on Smoking Poetry Podcast.
Let's get it.